Hey, welcome to a video that could absolutely change your life. My name's Matt Finch, and I am the co-founder of Elevation Recovery, certified fit recovery coach, and the founder of Opiate Addiction Support. And in this video, I'm going to teach you a natural opioid detox protocol using high-dose vitamin C. This is going to be really fascinating stuff. It's based on science and research. This video is for informational and educational use only, and it's not medical advice. Let's move on. Here are what we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about what vitamin C is and why we need it and what it does. We're going to talk about megadosing vitamin C for opioid withdrawal in research studies. Then we're going to cover home detox using liposomal form of ascorbic acid, or for people that don't have enough money, of getting either ascorbic acid powder or sodium ascorbate powder, the two forms of vitamin C, very inexpensive in those forms. We're going to talk about how to take magnesium and lavender essential oil baths during this, hot baths, and drinking high quality H2O. So as you can see, everything here is natural, no medications, just a complete natural detox. So if this looks exciting to you after you've watched the whole video, show it to your doctor, get their feedback, and have them help you create a plan. What is vitamin C? Well, there's two different forms. One is ascorbic acid, and the other is sodium ascorbate. Vitamin C is an essential nutrient for humans and some animals. It's a water-soluble antioxidant, which is necessary for normal growth and development. All living organisms can either make vitamin C, get it from their diets or supplements or both, or they die. Humans, we do not have the ability to make our own vitamin C like many animals do. So we need to obtain vitamin C from diet, supplements, or both. Otherwise, we can have really bad health problems and even death. Back in 2015 is when I first started to learn about megadosing vitamin C for opioid withdrawal, and I came across a really cool online article titled "Drug Addiction is Easy to Cure" by Dr. James Howenstine, MD. According to his article, he writes, human beings lack the L-guanylactone oxidase enzyme, GLO. Lack of this enzyme makes humans unable to synthesize ascorbate from blood glucose. All mammals except primates, guinea pigs, and humans use glucose to create ascorbic when placed in stressful situations. So the bottom line is that while most of the species on this planet are able to create their own ascorbic, and thus vitamin C when their body is under stressful situations, humans do not have that ability. So when we're going through opioid withdrawal, which is a very stressful situation on the body, we do not produce vitamin C like so many other animals do. A normal animal under minimal stress increases ascorbic output to the human equivalent of 10 to 20 grams per day. So that's 10,000 to 20,000 milligrams. Under physical and chemical stress, animals can increase the ascorbic output 3 to 5-fold. We don't have that ability. Goes on to say, a daily intake of 10 to 20 grams by an unstressed human is not high. Under stress, the need for ascorbic may go up to 30 to 100 grams daily. That would be 30,000 to 100,000 milligrams of vitamin C per day. The continuation of subtherapeutic doses of vitamin C recommended for 40 years in the USA would barely keep animals alive in poor health. Here are some of the relevant studies on vitamin C for opioid withdrawal. Number one is a study from 2000, which was done on humans. In this study, they used vitamin C in the form of ascorbic acid at the dosage of 300 milligrams per kilogram of body weight daily, and they combined that with the other antioxidant, which is a fat-soluble antioxidant, vitamin E. That was in the amount of 5 milligrams per kilogram body weight per day. The outcome of that study was that the people going through opioid withdrawal had much less severe opioid withdrawal symptoms in the vitamin C and vitamin E group versus the control group. Number two is a study from 2008 on rats. In this study, vitamin C at the dosage of 400 to 1600 milligrams per kilogram dose-dependently inhibited the development of tolerance and dependence to morphine. That means that these high dosages of vitamin C in rats, while they were concurrently giving them daily morphine, prevented them from getting an opioid tolerance and prevented them from getting a opioid dependence. Well, a morphine tolerance and dependence, and morphine is an opioid, so it probably translates to other opioids as well. Study 3 is on Harlem heroin users. In this study, they used sodium ascorbate powder with a 3-day loading phase and then 3 more days using diluted fruit juice with sodium ascorbate powder every couple of hours in amounts low enough to avoid bowel intolerance, but high enough to attenuate withdrawal symptoms. So essentially there was 3 days of building up levels of vitamin C prior to the acute heroin withdrawal. So 3 days while they're still on heroin, loading the vitamin C, then they cold turkey off heroin, and there's 3 days of detoxification of heroin using vitamin C. This had significant effects at attenuating heroin withdrawal symptoms. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper into this Harlem study because they had a really cool protocol that a lot of people have used since I wrote about this protocol in 2015 when I titled and published my first article on this, titled How to Megadose Vitamin C to Stop Opioid Withdrawal. So here was their awesome plan. The loading phase is 3 days. Day 1, 3 days prior to day of withdrawal. This is what they gave the patients. Drink 6 ounces diluted fruit juice containing 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium ascorbate powder. So imagine doing this. You get a glass and pour 3 ounces of water into it, 3 ounces of fruit juice, and then only 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium ascorbate powder. That's just a little tiny amount, and you're putting it in that beverage that makes it taste better. In day 2, you drink the diluted fruit juice, then you increase to 1,000 to 2,500 milligrams of sodium ascorbate every 2 hours until bedtime. So again, you're making a glass that has 3 ounces of water and 3 ounces of juice, that's the diluted fruit juice, to get rid of the nasty taste. Then you put in just a little amount of this sodium ascorbate powder. You can buy these big giant tubs of this sodium ascorbate powder or ascorbic acid powder, and it's very inexpensive. You can get a huge amount for a very little amount of money. And you can scoop these out with things like a 1/4 teaspoon, a 1/2 teaspoon, and a teaspoon. It's really not that much of this powder to get these nice dosages here they're explaining. On day 3, you drink diluted fruit juice, this time with 5,000 to 7,500 milligrams of sodium ascorbate every 3 hours until bedtime. So that's 5 to 7.5 grams. Then you take your last opioid dosage at night before bed, and then when you're sleeping, you're starting to go into withdrawal. So if withdrawal symptoms occur during the night, they say you can use the diluted fruit juice with 5,000 to 7,500 milligrams SA, administered when awake and taken every 2 hours until symptoms abate. So here's what they did. This is the opioid detox phase now. Day 4, this is literally the first day of no opioid usage. You're doing the diluted fruit juice beverage with 2.5 to 5 grams of sodium ascorbate every 2 hours until bedtime. And then if symptoms occur during the night, you would keep doing that dosage every 2 hours until your symptoms go away and you're able to fall back asleep. Day 5, the dosage changes up. This goes down to 1 to 2.5 grams sodium ascorbate every 2 hours until bedtime. And again, you can do that same dosage every 2 hours at nighttime if you can't sleep and you still have symptoms. Finally, on this protocol, day 6, the dosage decreases again down to 1,000 milligrams, so that's 1 gram, sodium ascorbate every 2 hours until bedtime. If symptoms occur during the night, 1,000 milligrams sodium ascorbate when you're awake every 2 hours until symptoms abate. Pretty straightforward right there. This protocol had excellent results. The main problem is that the sodium ascorbate powder they were using at these very high dosages can lead to bowel intolerance. It can make people have diarrhea, stomach upset, stomach cramping, lots of gastrointestinal distress. Luckily nowadays we have Liposomal Vitamin C, which has a much higher absorption rate and does not cause the bowel intolerance. It is a lot more expensive, but it's nice to have that option. Regular sodium ascorbate powder or ascorbic acid powder is about a 7 to 8% approximate absorption rate for these types of products. But there's something called liposomal nutrients, and liposomal vitamin C has approximately an 80 to 90% absorption rate without the bowel intolerance side effects at high dosages. In my opinion, and in many people's opinions, this could show that Liposomal C is a far superior way to detox from opioids than using non-liposomal forms of vitamin C. And when you do the math on this, it appears that Liposomal C can be up to 13 times more effective in some cases. Now let's get into the protocol that I've developed for you that is 100% natural and very simple. So this is, if you look at this chart over here, that's the percentages, was just kind of cool visual way to do it. It's not based on any type of science, but Liposomal C, as you see here, that says 52.6%. You know, the heavy lifting of this detox protocol is Liposomal Vitamin C, or for the people that cannot afford that, Sodium Ascorbate Powder or Ascorbic Acid Powder. The next one is hot baths. Hot baths a few times a day while you're detoxing at home really help your parasympathetic nervous system to relax. That's the rest and digest division of your autonomic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is what goes into fight or flight overdrive mode going through opioid withdrawal. So the Liposomal C, as we'll talk about going further into this training, appears to, hopefully, what researchers believe is that it binds to the opioid receptors at those high dosages, causing a huge release of endorphins and thereby attenuating the withdrawal syndrome from the opioids coming out of the receptors, blood opioid concentration going down, and that means you go below your opioid dependence level that your neurons have adapted to. That puts you into a fight or flight rebound effect of the central nervous system, creating lots of adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol. Your amygdala goes crazy. The fear center of the brain's in control. So Liposomal C has been shown in many studies to attenuate that CNS rebound effect, those withdrawal symptoms, and hot baths can do that as well, especially if you were to add Ancient Minerals Magnesium Bath Flakes into the bath. That's a great way. It's magnesium chloride to increase your parasympathetic nervous system relaxation. It's truly the relaxation mineral. Magnesium's involved in more than 300 physiological processes in the body and brain. Really important. Most Americans are deficient in it, and magnesium flakes, this magnesium chloride substance, is a really great way to get magnesium because it absorbs through your skin so well. So it increases, when you take a bath like this, can increase serotonin, increase ATP, adenosine triphosphate, for energy production. It can help to increase your nutrient absorption, and it can increase your ability to delete toxins out of your body, reduce toxic load. The next ingredient we have on this list is organic USDA certified lavender oil. So this is essential oil of lavender. You add these to the baths as well. And this lavender essential oil, if you put enough in a hot bath, is so calming, so relaxing, so good for anxiety and depression. And then finally, either filtered water or spring water or alkaline water, some type of water that's not disgusting, nasty tap water if you live somewhere like I do here in San Diego, California, where the tap water is complete garbage. Tastes like crap, doesn't make you feel hydrated. When I drink it, I feel like I'm poisoning myself, so I rarely ever drink it, but every once in a while, there's nothing else and I don't want to go to the store. So if you already have a water filter or a water delivery system at home, you're straight on that. Then all you need to do is get your type of vitamin C, whether it's the one that I'm going to talk about or one of the less expensive forms. Hopefully you have the ability to take a bath where you live. If not, don't worry. It's not essential. The only thing essential in this plan is vitamin C. So moving over to the right here, this plan calls for liposomal vitamin C. However, ascorbic acid powder or sodium ascorbate powder can be substituted if money's tight. I'm going to teach you how to use these expensive live-on lipospheric liposomal vitamin C packets that are individual 1,000 milligram packets that are a very high quality liposomal C. I don't have any relationship or affiliation with that company. I use their products and love them, and a lot of people have used them to go through opioid withdrawal. And the Ancient Minerals Magnesium Flakes are pretty expensive as well, but don't worry, if money's tight, you can get some cheap Epsom salt. If you get a big, huge bag of Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate, that is very inexpensive in comparison to the Ancient Minerals Magnesium Chloride Flakes, and this can be substituted and it works quite well. Moving on, we come to a little visual look before we get deep into each of these phases. Phases 1, 2, 3. So this opioid detox protocol, this natural protocol, is segmented into 3 distinct phases. Moving to the right, phase 1 is 3-day loading phase using live-on lipospheric liposomal vitamin C. It's in the picture there on the left. As I said, they come in these boxes of 30 and 30 different packets. They're all 1,000 milligrams, also known as 1 gram. Phase 2 is 3 to 7 day opioid detox phase. This is when you're actually coming off of opioids, using high-dose liposomal vitamin C, the same brand, Live-On Lipospheric C. And so essentially, if you're coming off short-acting opioids, it'll be 6 days. And if you're coming off long-acting opioids, it could be anywhere from 6, 7, 8, 9, or even 10 days, or even longer, depending on a person's situation. Phase 3 is a 30 to 90-day supplement phase, and that's because after doing an acute withdrawal from opioids, typically people have post-acute withdrawal symptoms. Post-acute withdrawal is the second phase of withdrawal that most people experience if they've been on opioids long-term. The symptoms are typically much less severe than the acute phase, although they do tend to linger on for much longer if the brain imbalances that opioid dependence either caused or exacerbated remain unaddressed and untreated. Now let's get into phase 1. Phase 1 is 3 days of loading vitamin C before you even detox from opioids. On day 1, drink a half of a packet of Live-On Lipospheric C every 2 hours until bedtime. On day 2, drink 1 to 2 full packets of Live-On Lipospheric C every 2 hours until bedtime. And on day 3, this is where we really crank it up, drink 3 to 5 packets of lipospheric vitamin C every 3 hours until bedtime, and every 2 to 3 hours during the night if you cannot sleep. Phase 2 is the opioid detox phase. So on the 3rd day of loading, then at nighttime you go to bed, you wake up on day 4 of this protocol, and you do not take opioids anymore. And you drink 2 to 3 packets on day 4, every 2 hours until bedtime, and every 2 hours during the night if you can't sleep until symptoms abate. On day 5, you drink 1 to 2 packets every 2 hours until bedtime, and then again every 2 hours at nighttime if you can't sleep until symptoms abate. On day 6, we reduce it down to 1 packet every 2 hours until bedtime, and every 2 hours at night if you can't sleep until symptoms abate. If someone is coming off of long-acting opioids, they might find that they need to continue to do this protocol and extend it. So since there's no long-acting withdrawal protocols in research, all of these have been, that I've studied from, have been short-acting opioids. There's not really any protocol for the days beyond, but what a lot of people have done is they continue doing something that looks like day 5 right here, 1 to 2 packets, or maybe it looks like day 4, or maybe it looks like day 6, but they just simply continue to do the high-dose liposomal vitamin C or regular vitamin C for a few more days. Really, until somebody starts doing this protocol on their own and doing it, there's really no way to be sure how much you're going to need. So it's going to be something that most people will need to test, measure, assess, and either adjust the protocol if needed or keep doing it how is, depending on their results. Phase 3 is using 30 to 90 days of supplements for post-acute withdrawal, when people can add healthy dietary changes and some healthy beginning fitness. If they haven't been doing fitness for a long time, that can help to speed up the process of restoring brain health and biochemical restoration as well. But at minimum, I know that most people can take some supplements. That's an easy habit to do. And doing this, I'm not going to go deep into supplements because I've got other videos on those and podcast episodes and much other great info. But at minimum, most people would find that they could do pretty good helping to feel better quicker by taking 1, a high-quality daily multivitamin mineral, number 2, B complex, a CalMag D3 supplement, vitamin C, and then by this phase, down to 1 to 3 grams a day, I'd expect, omega-3s and probiotics. And then, number 3, doing amino acid therapy, things like DPA or DLPA, L-tyrosine, 5-HTP, GABA, L-tryptophan, L-theanine, glycine. These are all excellent amino acids, and you can even get multi-amino formulations on Amazon, the Vitamin Shop, Whole Foods, and many other places. Moving along, here's another visual look at it. 1, 2, 3, free. Again, 1 is the loading phase. Either Liposomal C, either the Live-On Lipospheric C Vitamin C packets that I've been talking about. There's also a lot of other brands of Liposomal C that you could be interested in and even like better. Or you're using Ascorbic Acid Powder, which is very inexpensive, or Sodium Ascorbate Powder, which is also very inexpensive. And the loading phase, again, is 3 days leading up to the opioid cessation. Phase 2 that's when you come off of opioids. This is the acute detox phase. Here is where the vitamin C dosage and frequency increase, and then they decrease again while opioids are stopped being administered. And this lasts for 3 to 7 or even more days, depending on which type of opioid the person's been using, aka long-acting or short-acting, extended release, etc., the dosage, and for how long they've been on it. Phase 3 is for post-acute withdrawal. Again, this is the 30 to 90 days of supplements for biochemical restoration. After detoxing from opioids, after long-term use, creates chronic brain imbalances. And finally, phase 4, this is the free part, stay opioid free. Once you're done, things like diet, fitness, and supplementation can continue to be leveraged to stay feeling good, so you literally have no desire whatsoever to use opioids. Here's the shopping list for this protocol. Number 1, Live-On Lipospheric Vitamin C. These are very expensive. I think they're around $1 per packet. But don't worry, because sodium ascorbate and ascorbic acid powder are really inexpensive. You could probably get, maybe $40 worth of one of these might be enough for the whole entire detox protocol. If you're using liposomal vitamin C products like this Live-On one, it might be anywhere from $100 to several hundreds of dollars to do this detox protocol, and maybe even $500 or more. Number 2, we have the Ancient Minerals Magnesium Bath Flakes. These are pretty expensive too. I think they have a pretty big bag that I usually get, which is $30, and it lasts me maybe like 6 or 7 baths, so it's pretty expensive. But don't worry if money's tight for you, because you can get a huge bulk bag of Epsom salt, and that's much less expensive, much more affordable. And Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate, works really great too. Number 3 is Cleganic Lavender Essential Oil, or you can use any other brand so long as it's USDA certified organic. And I also highly recommend using organic peppermint oil in combination with it. In fact, they have these little Cleganic essential oil packs that come with the 6 most popular essential oils, including things like lavender, peppermint, orange, eucalyptus, rosemary, lemongrass, and can I remember the other one? Yeah, tea tree oil. I know this so well because I have that pack, and I have a new one on the way right now because I ran out of my lavender oil, and I ran out of orange, and I ran out of 1 or 2 other ones, so I can't wait till mine comes in the mail. These are very inexpensive. The essential oils are cheap because you only need a little bit. And even the Ancient Minerals Magnesium Flakes are pretty affordable for most people. So really the only thing I see being a major issue for people is whether or not they can afford to use liposomal vitamin C in the form of the Live-On Lipospheric packets or another type of liposomal C. They've got bottles of liquid liposomal C that you can just kind of pour out and squeeze some out or pour it into a teaspoon or a tablespoon. So there's a lot of different options out there. I wanted to keep this very simple, very elegant, because I know that a lot of people can get analysis paralysis and information overwhelm. So of course, this protocol could be totally hybridized, customized. You can really play around with it. Again, this is only informational, educational use, not medical advice. But, with all the research on this stuff showing so much positivity, definitely if you like this, again, show your doctor and have them help you come up with a kick-ass plan. Now let's go into some pictures so you get more familiar with these things. On the left, that is what a box of 30 lipospheric vitamin C packets looks like from the Live-On brand. Moving to the right, that's what the bag of Ancient Minerals Magnesium Bath Flakes looks like. Then we got the Cleganic Essential Oil of Lavender, which is certified organic. Then on the right, filtered water, or really any type of water that you enjoy drinking that's just not crappy tap water that has all the gross stuff in it. You want to have something that's purified, that tastes good, so you'll actually want to drink a lot of water when you're doing this protocol. So here's the Lipospheric Vitamin C packets up close. As you can see, 1,000 milligrams per packet, and then 1,000 milligrams essential phospholipids. So the reason this works is because the ascorbic acid in it is encapsulated in a lipid layer, a fat layer, that helps protect the ascorbic acid, bypass your digestion, so you ultimately absorb a ton of it, up to 80 to 90% versus maybe 7 or 8%, and it doesn't lead to bowel intolerance. So this stuff is a lot more expensive, but it also, you absorb maybe up to 13 times more. So really, when you look at it like that, it might be less expensive. Here's the Magnesium Bath Flakes, up close and personal. A lot of different brands of this stuff too. You certainly don't have to use the Ancient Minerals brand. It's just my favorite one. Here is the Cleganic Essential Oil of Lavender up close. Certainly don't have to use this brand. There's tons of really awesome organic essential oils. And there is the filtered water. Here's a background study. This is the one, I believe, from 2000. Here's the abstract background. Ascorbic acid, vitamin C, administered orally in high doses has been observed to relieve pain and reduce opioid use in cancer patients. In vitro studies have also shown that antioxidants such as vitamin C may, at high concentrations, inhibit the endogenous opioid-degrading metalloenzyme and increase endorphin levels. In the present study, the effects of oral administration of high doses of vitamin C on withdrawal syndrome heroin abusers were investigated, and here's the results. The patients of the vitamin C treated groups, inpatients and outpatients, experienced mild withdrawal syndrome symptoms in 46.6% to 50% of the subjects. This is in contrast to the control group patients who experienced mild withdrawal symptoms in only 6.6% of the cases. So the vitamin C treated subjects expressed major withdrawal symptoms ranging from 10% to 16.6%. In contrast to the untreated subjects, the control group, who expressed a major withdrawal symptoms in 56.6% of the cases. So the conclusions are, the results indicate that high doses of ascorbic acid administered orally may ameliorate the withdrawal syndrome of heroin addicts. Further studies are needed in order to estimate the dose and time-dependent effects of ascorbic acid treatment and to clarify its mechanisms of action in the withdrawal syndrome. And now that you've learned how to use the vitamin C aspect of the protocol, here is how to make the hot baths. So 2 to 3 times per day during the acute detox phase. So 2 to 3 times a day, starting on day 1 where you discontinue opioids. Run a hot bath around the temperature of 101 to 103 degrees. Add 2 to 3 cups or more of Ancient Minerals magnesium flakes or Epsom salt. Add 4 to 10 drops of Cleganic Lavender Essential Oil or a different brand of organic lavender essential oil and soak for 20 minutes. Rinse off with cool or cold water, then put a comfy robe on and drink a glass of water. And now that you've learned how to use vitamin C for opioid withdrawal, I recommend you do more research into this, and if it looks exciting, ask your doctor if it's right for you. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comment box below and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you have not already, please subscribe and make sure to have a great one, and I'll talk to you next time.